Thank you for coming out to this session. The plan is, for the next 30 minutes, we're actually going to kill PowerPoint. So if any of you are sad about that, then you may want to leave the room. So we are lucky to have Rebekah with us today. She's from the University of Utah, and she is the lead course designer there, also instructional technologist. She has many titles. We chose just a couple, but I have the pleasure of working with Rebekah as she works up there at the U with all of the University of Utah team. And so I'm excited for this presentation. We have a packed house, so many of you are likewise excited. So without any more time, I'll turn the time over to her.
Okay. Oh, I feel like I'm like on a Disney cruise or something. I can walk around. Anyway, so I just kind of put this kind of introductory to tell you a little bit about the University of Utah for those of you who maybe are new to the area here coming to the conference. The University of Utah is located here in the foothills of Salt Lake City, although we're up here in Park City. And it was founded in 1850. It serves over 31,000 students from across the U.S. and the world. We have a medical center. We have 2 hospitals. So we have a huge Research One institution that we are supporting our faculty and our students in education. And so we've got over 3,000 faculty that we serve with educational technology. So we've got a pretty tall order, small office, but we have a big bang. We like to help out. So, and you'll notice that my presentation today, I'm not using PowerPoint. I'm actually using Pages inside of Canvas because there's a problem, okay? So we're going to talk about what the problem is. So my problem is, and some of you are probably going to look at this and go, oh, I'm right there. So how many of you felt like this picture? You've walked into a presentation, you're like, I am going to die. 300 slides, oh, 1 word on each slide, or, too much information, too many diagrams. Wow. Anyway, so, and then we got another picture over here on the side of some people banging their heads against the board here, Like I'm totally in this lecture in my class and I'm dying. Or, you could be in a room watching an online presentation and, I joke because my boss here is in the room and he's like, I'm that guy in the back going, oh my gosh, come on. Okay. So I wanted to show you just a couple videos here, just some snippets, and I'm going to ask for some audience participation. I do have some awesome saltwater taffy from Salt Lake City, okay? This is me. I'm your Jedi today against PowerPoint. This really is me for Halloween one year. Anyway. So, just so you know who you're dealing with here today. So I'm going to show you a little bit. There is a video out there called Stop You're Killing Me with PowerPoint that was done. Oh, shoot. I don't think I'm plugged. Am I plugged into the speakers? I am. Awesome.
If I want to sleep, I'll go there. And if I want to read, I'll listen in my chair. And if I want to hear a monotonous drone, I'll ask a politician about free trade zones. And if I want charts, I'll read S&P. And if I want Mozart and Connie or Jay-Z, you think I'm paying attention? I'll get inside my head. I feel like the zombies in the dawn of the dead. It's inhuman. It's a crime. It's so painful, I got a brain full. They ought to throw you in the joint, because you're killing me with your PowerPoint. Now, I know you probably can't read this next slide at the time. It talks in your graphs and I'm into my eyes. Do you think you can climb any more than that?
So that's a little bit. Now I got another one to show you, and I think we've got some more audio on here. So what are you guys thinking? Are you feeling that pain? I'm sure that even as educators are here in the room, you're probably feeling that pain creating the PowerPoint, the lecture, the information that you need to give. So this guy, I don't know if anyone has seen John McMillan before. He is awesome. He talks about life after death by PowerPoint, and he's a technology comedian, if there's such a thing.
that there's some things I hate about PowerPoint, and I figure it's kind of my duty to point them out. So here we go. Here's common PowerPoint mistakes. Number one, people tend to put every word they are going to say on their PowerPoint slides. Although this eliminates the need to memorize your talk, ultimately this makes your slides crowded, wordy, and boring. You will lose your audience's attention before you even reach the bottom of your first slide.
Watch some of these because we're going to have a quiz.
Please don't do that anymore, please. Number two, most common, many people do not run spell check. Big mistake. Nothing makes you look stupider than spelling errors. If it's got a red line under it, recheck the spelling. And then finally, I hate this. Avoid excessive bullet pointing, only key points. Too many bullet points, and your key messages will not stand out. In fact, the term bullet point comes from people firing guns at annoying presenters.
This guy's awesome, right? Yeah.
Hence the bullet point. Bad color schemes, not good.
We're just going to watch a couple more of these.
Clashing background and font colors can lead to distraction, confusion, headache, nausea, vomiting, and loss of bladder control. I can't stay on that one too long. Here's something I've noticed. The number of PowerPoint slides you have in your talk, the less useful your talk actually is. Unfortunately, my presentation is right there. I've also noticed this. People love to pack data into their presentations. They just shove more and more data thinking it's better, but it's not. The more data you have, the harder it is to read your slide, and the effectiveness plummets. Now you can improve the effectiveness by adding some shading and some 3D effects, and then some second order and third order effects, and then, I know, let's add some labels. That'll help a lot. And that's pretty much every marketing slide I've ever seen right there. Yeah. Then some like VP of marketing standing there going, it's real clear in Q4. What the hell are you talking about?
Okay.
Now, I'm into in animation. People become animators in PowerPoint. You can have things flying all over the place, and that can be good. If you're a visual learner, that will improve the effectiveness of your performance. But if you're easily distracted, more animations, and people have no idea what you're talking about. They're just, wow, that is cool, wow. And there's regions here, by the way. There's the simple but effective region. There's the active but confusing, the effective but boring, the active but ineffective, the dull but static region, the busy but useless, the ADD only region, the useful but amusing, the stupid but confusing, the dull triangle, the hyper triangle, the sleepy square, the dizzying pentagon, and everything else I just call pointless motion.
Okay. So I think we see a problem, right? We've got something identified. There's a problem out there. And at the University of Utah, we were finding that faculty were coming to us, and they're wanting to narrate their PowerPoints. And some of it was so painful, 50 slides. They never resized their images. So by the time they put, some audio to it, like a 50 gigabyte file, you're going to put in your class. I'm exaggerating the 50, but you understand there's, a couple gigs for this. And students were having a hard time downloading said resources. And so as we started getting onto Canvas, our faculty were uploading their narrated PowerPoints, the native file, and it was stripping out the audio. So you couldn't really, play them in Canvas. And so we had them zip the file and then add it into the course. They could download it, and then they could watch that. But one day we were cooking up some ideas. Corey Stokes here in the room, a couple of us, we were talking about how can we leverage Canvas to help with this kind of issue that we're having. Why don't we just use Canvas? It's there. So what follows is kind of some examples that we came across, and hopefully some solutions, just to kind of, I didn't want to go there yet. Don't you love it when things just happen in your presentation? So I just need quick, people raise their hand. Can you tell me, damn it, Millen, what are some of the things that he was talking about? And I've got candy for you, okay? Saltwater taffy, right over there. Totally, too much data, yes. Annette? Yes, here. And you know, if you've got some neighbors, they're going to get some too. Yes? Oh, totally. Right on. Okay. We've got that candy coming back in the corner. Awesome. Yes, bad colors. I mean, it's even bad in fashion, but it's worse on PowerPoint.
Too many words.
Too many words, bullet points. All right, you guys are awesome. You know, have more candy afterwards, because we could take all day doing this, but that group right there in the back, right on. Okay. It's like a parade, right? Okay. So we're not going to go over the whole list, but I do have the list on here that he was giving, sort of that top 10, just kind of recap. And so we were feeling the pains of some of these things happening, seeing them happen to our faculty, and we wanted to help them. And a colleague of mine, Donna Ziegenfuss, who's in the room today, pointed me towards an article that was online. And I thought, wow, this has got to be our answer. This is something we can start looking at. So we can see our top 10. We didn't quite get to less is more, right? Too much text and data. Sometimes keep it simple. And a little bit, if you cannot explain it short and simple, then you don't understand it. I thought that was interesting. So that's kind of one of the things he talked about. So I think the answer for us that we came across, and you know, we may modify this, there was an article called A Cognitive Theory of Multimedia Learning Implications for Design Principles by Meyer and Moreno in California. And this class is open. This source is going to be available to you, all this information. This is the PDF of, it's actually a chapter in a book by Meyer. So just kind of giving you just a brief overview. And you could probably read this faster than I'm going to tell you, right? I'm breaking one of my rules here. So according to the theory, for learner processes, there are two different systems. We have a visual system, and then we also have a verbal system. And so how can we bridge those two together when we're doing lectures, providing information for our students to learn? And so they came up with this multimedia theory based on cognitive theories, where it engaged in selecting information, organizing information, and then how can we integrate that information? So from that, Meyer actually came up with 5 different principles behind this design. And going forward from these principles, we tried to start working with select faculty to use these principles to demonstrate that by using Canvas tools and making their lectures effective. So the first one is multiple representation. It is better to present an explanation in words and pictures than solely in words. So, Estelita, if I was going to show you a picture of someone riding a bike, would you know how to ride a bike without the words that would accompany that picture if you'd never done it before? So just an example. So, you know, having an accompanying maybe auditory, maybe someone's speaking it, or they're reading a description, maybe while they're looking at someone riding the bike, so there's a video going on and doing the mechanics of that. So having multiple representation for something. Contiguity, so when giving a multimedia explanation, present corresponding words and pictures rather than separately. So having the full picture together instead of saying, well, this is what we're talking about, and now I'm going to show you on the next slide or the next slide. But as we're reading it and we're hearing that information and we're learning it, we want to see right there. So we want to see a comparison side by side. The split attention. When giving a multimedia explanation, present words as auditory narration rather than putting the text there. I think for me, this is like, I'm an auditory learner. I'd rather hear something happening while I'm watching something occur. Now this 4th principle, individual differences, I thought this was really interesting. So the foregoing principles, 1 through 3, are more important for low knowledge than high knowledge learners. I thought this was interesting. So if I already knew how to ride a bike, and then I watch the video, or if I hear someone telling me how to ride a bike, I've already got a picture in my mind. I'm picturing myself getting on my bike and pedaling along. So I've already got knowledge ahead of time, so I already might not need some of these other principles in my learning. And then the last one he talks about is coherence. So when giving some type of multimedia explanation, use few rather than many extraneous words and pictures. So, I mean, Dan kind of talked about that. Don't just hit us with all of this data with nothing behind it. You know, why are we learning this? What are the objectives? Why am I learning this information? So say more with few words and less pictures, and in a different kind of a combination. So then kind of after reading this, kind of turning to Canvas, what were some tools inside of Canvas that would help us sort of leverage, you know, these principles from Meyer? And first thought was Pages. And Pages is just like a little mini HTML. You know, we've got the rich text editor built in there. And the powerful combination with the Kaltura Media Server, I'm using the film strip icon, whether you already have media that you've created ahead of time, so maybe you're filming someone on that bike, right? And you're gonna upload that, or you've got some images and you're just gonna go ahead and narrate that information. Very powerful. So you can kind of see where, oh, well, I've had these slides, well, maybe I'm gonna put them into Pages. Now, you don't have to do a page for every slide, right? You want to combine things. We've kind of come up with a best practice where about 16 slides or images, depending on how you break it up on a page, works about right. That's about enough information. Or maybe you're going to break it up by theme. Maybe you've got a PowerPoint that kind of moves through some processes, and you're going to break it up according to that process. So you may have 3 different pages in your course, and you can link these right into the module tool. If you want to keep the information inside of modules for the students. Linking to YouTube videos, why recreate the wheel? If there's something out there, a resource on the web that's available to you that they can already see and it's available, don't recreate the web. The wheel, just go ahead and add that by using the link tool inside of the rich text editor. And then how cool is this? I don't have to make sure I have PowerPoint on my computer when I leave. In fact, I can use my mobile device or you know, use my app, and I could export the content package if I were ever to leave Canvas land and go to another institution. I've got everything packaged together. I don't have to make sure I have all of those 20 PowerPoints I had. And maybe I don't have enough money to upgrade to the latest version of PowerPoint, and certain things are broken and they're not working, so I'm not tied to any kind of a proprietary program. I can just use Canvas. And I could be anywhere that there's an internet connection, wireless, which is just about everywhere nowadays, and I can get on there and I can edit information, and I can record on the app that's out there. We just barely kind of started doing this this spring. So as we've moved into the fall semester, or in our summer semester that just started a month ago, we have a couple of professors that just kind of started piloting this sort of idea, laying some seeds, trying to see what happens. And I've got some examples with the permission of some professors to kind of show us. So the first is from a Spanish 4510 section 90. It's a business Spanish course. And before, she had some really labor-intensive stuff that came from the book, PowerPoints, and she narrated all of them, and they're all like this one big file. And if she ever wanted to edit it, she'd have to start all over again. I mean, like, she did this stuff several years ago and spent hours and hours and hours. So this is just a snapshot of her page, but you could just use your slide that you had been using. And then we created a table, and with 2 columns, you could have 3 depending on how you want to lay it out. And you could have your slide on one side, or your image, or some important facts. So you may have some effective bullets up there of information. And then on the right-hand side there, this obviously is not the instructor, but click on the video, so they're watching the information, and they're either going to see that person speaking, or they're going to hear them. So it's kind of like having your own little mini podcast built into the Pages tool, okay? So she wanted to take this a step further. She's starting backwards, and all of her lectures will be ready for fall. So she's starting at the end. So as her students get towards the end of the semester, she'll actually have some room for that. So they actually have an assignment where they have to pick a country, and then in a group, they're going to create a presentation. And before, she would have them use PowerPoint. And she's like, well, I want them to learn a skill, come out of this class learning how to use PowerPoint. Well, she decided, let's try this, Rebekah, let's try it. And I'm like, let's do it. Yes, you'll be the first instructor to have an assignment where the students are going to try this out. So in the actual assignment, they sign up for a group of a country. So they're actually in the group area. And then they use the page to create the project together. And then the assignment is an actual URL assignment. So they just take the URL from their group page and paste it in to submit it for their assignment. And then the instructor has it linked to the speed grader, goes to the grade book. They can give comments. It's linked up that way. And so the students have just started doing this. They're already in their groups. Their presentation, I think, is due the last week of the semester, so in the next month. I wanted to go in there, see if there was any flurry of activity, but no one's done anything yet. They're just in their groups. So each person, there's 3 people in a group. They have 4 slides that they have to present some kind of information about the country, and they have to be seen. So they're going to think about, oh, I better do a really good job. I'm presenting, and then their peers are going to also look at this and judge them as well. So there's going to be some peer review of the presentations. And she's got a rubric attached to it to go along with that as well. So kind of an example of turning it on the student and having the student. And I thought also that we can use pages as a wiki page. So you could actually have a resource that your class builds together. And it can be, maybe you're building an integral part of what's going to happen next semester. Maybe you're going to build a lecture together. Maybe this course, everyone's helping the professor write a book, or I don't know, something fun. So you can build a resource together in the exact kind of way. You can also, here's an example of an instructor, you can make it super simple. All she did was take some additional resources in a nursing class. She hasn't done any of her lectures yet. She wanted to start small, and all of her case studies, stuff like that. She's now integrated images and showed examples. So the students can just watch that over and over again instead of, where do I stop to get to that one point where I was at in the PowerPoint? So this is kind of what we've been doing at the University of Utah. And going forward, this is sort of a question to you, to the Canvas community. Where do we go with this? So definitely Pages has a lot of potential of having more additions to it, like collapsing. I know we've talked about on the user list. Hey, let's collapse that right-hand panel so we really have this kind of presentation mode. Can we export a page out as a package separately? So there's all these ideas I got in my head that Nacho hasn't heard yet, but I'm going to tell him. And I'm going to put it on the feature request so all of you can go vote on it. But I see some future potential, and I know we just have a few minutes left, so I'm just going to turn the time over to you. If you have questions or if you have ideas, I would totally love to hear it, and go on the course too in the discussions and talk about this, because I want to hear what you guys have to say. And I want some ideas on my end too. So does anybody have any? Yes? Oh, yes. In fact, if you want to, right up here, you guys get to go to my cool demo course that I have. So it's utah.instructure.com/courses/49573. That's my number. You can call me anytime. It's 49573. And I'm gonna give this to Instructure. It'll be inside the course. I'll actually post this inside the discussion for this session. And it's all linked into the module area. I use the modules just to kind of give an example of how you can kind of move yourself through that. Anyway, but you're welcome to come here. The article that we're using, that Multimedia Cognitive Theory, is on here that you can download and use. Does anyone have ideas of where you want to go? Has anyone thought about this or tried doing something like this already? So what are you guys doing? What are you doing? Yes? Oh, yeah. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, and it's so effective for online lectures. Yes? Yeah, you bet. Yeah. So this would be, instead of just seeing the player where you see like the audio logo, you're going to see that instructor. And then if you click on it, this isn't, it's a snapshot, but that screen is going to be bigger and that player is going to open up. And so you're going to be able to see it about just as big as your slide or your images. It doesn't. Actually, this was recorded right inside of Canvas in the rich text editor, that film strip icon, so the Kaltura engine. We actually bought the community version at the University of Utah, so we have our own media server on campus. And you can upload videos that are already created. Of course, think about copyright, right? We want to, yeah, right? And then, of course, being able to do stuff on the fly. Right, and yeah, we're actually, we've told our faculty about free Jing. Jing is really free. You could screen capture your PowerPoint if you want to put your PowerPoint up that way and do it. That's 5 minutes or less, so that's a free. You can buy Jing Pro, not anymore, I think they've changed that. But we do use Camtasia. We do have faculty using Captivate. iSpring is another one. I haven't even heard of Storyline, so yeah, I haven't heard of it before. So thank you. Yes? What she did was she took a screenshot of her slide, so it's an actual image, and she just inserted it in here. Or she could have recreated it in a different way. I believe these are the slides that came from the publisher for her book. So it's got like a background and all that added stuff. I think we got 1 minute left. Yeah. I know you guys are excited to eat lunch, right? That's what's next. Well, thank you guys for coming, and have a great day.